Hello and welcome to Hungary for the third weekend of the GB3 Championship. We have the hometown hero with Martin Molnar set for his first time racing in Hungary in the series. But before that, we'll head over to Spa to look at highlights from the previous weekend of the championship, which was in thrilling conditions and, of course, some excellent racing indeed. It's beautiful blue sunscreen over here in Hungary, but what was it like back in Spa? Torrential rain greets the GB3 Championship as we head to the Ardennes to the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps for rounds 4, 5 and 6. Looks like this race is not going to be getting underway. We'll have to wait until later on. The sun is shining and we are finally ready to go. Abby Pulling going to be leading from pole position, holding on to that into the opening corner. Bit of contact there for Campbell Pilling. Some big dives into Lake Cobb. Battling here between the two elites. Fantastic stuff. Unbelievable historic scenes here at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Abby Pulling gapping the field. Abby Pulling, the first woman to win in GB3. Incredible performance. Bedrin will follow across the line, but the talk of the town, Abby Pulling her first victory in GB3. Can she do it again in race 2 of the weekend? Bedrin's away well. Once again, the championship leader's flying. Deegan Fairclough's on the charge here. Nikita Bedrin dominating this second race of the weekend. Comfortably in control at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. The championship leader will win for the third time. A historic weekend then for GB3, seeing Abby Pulling become the first woman to win in the championship. Excellent scenes at Spa. Of course, if you are new to GB3, you're joining us maybe for the first time, we do have a bit of a beginner's guide to maybe show you the ropes here in GB3. Welcome to the GB3 Championship. If you're new to the series, this is one of the most exciting single-seater categories in motorsport run by Motorsport Vision Racing, better known as MSVR. The 2026 season is shaping up to be another intense year of competition. We'll see over 20 hungry up-and-coming drivers battling it out, representing 10 teams. And this year, everyone is getting behind the wheel of the highly upgraded Tartas MSV GB3025 car, which has greater torque and improved aerodynamic performance compared to last year's model. So, how does a race weekend actually work? It all kicks off with 2 intense 15-minute qualifying sessions. The time set in those sessions form the grid for 3 action-packed 25-minute races, with the first session forming the Race 1 grid and the second session setting the Race 2 lineup. But here's the best part. Race 3 is a reverse grid contest, with the fastest 12 drivers reversed on the starting grid ahead of the rest of the pack. This means the fastest qualifiers start further back, guaranteeing plenty of overtaking, especially with the GB3 car's DRS system. Across the season, fans will be treated to 24 races, and for 2026, the series is expanding its horizons with the exciting new trips to legendary Formula 1 circuits, the Red Bull Ring and the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya. Here is how the calendar breaks down. We start at Silverstone in April, followed by visits to European F1 track Spa-Francorchamps, the Hungaroring and the Red Bull Ring across May and July. Before heading back to the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit in August, September brings the annual visit to Donington Park, followed by the high-stakes penultimate event at Brands Hatch. Finally, we take one last trip to Europe to crown our champion at the season finale in Barcelona. Now let's talk strategy. Unlike Formula 1, there is no mandatory pit stops in GB3. However, each car is strictly limited to using a maximum of 8 tyres. That is just 2 sets for an entire race weekend, including qualifying. Therefore, mastering tyre management is absolutely critical to winning. But what are they racing for? Aside from glory, it's all about FIA Super License points. To eventually race in Formula 1, a driver needs to collect 40 of these points over 3 years. In GB3, the top 5 drivers in the final standings will earn points, with the 2026 champion taking home 10 points towards their Formula 1 dream. There are also some fantastic bonus prizes up for grabs. The Jack Cavill Pole Position Cup returns this year, rewarding any driver who grabs pole position with £300. At the end of the year, the driver with the most poles overall wins a special trophy and a £2,000 bonus, and the team of that driver gets £2,000 as well. Finally, keep an eye out for the Omologato One to Watch award. Every weekend, the driver who scores the highest combined points across the first 2 races is presented with a stunning Omologato watch. It's great to be on the European road trip, and it's great to be back in Hungary for the third time in GB3's history. And it's even better, though, for our hometown hero, Martin Molnar, who'll be racing for the first time ever in his home country. He lives just about 30 minutes down the road, and after a fantastic qualifying session, Richard Rounder was able to catch up with him a little bit earlier on this weekend.
Well, Martin, here we are. Your home round. You've been looking forward to this one all season, haven't you?
Yeah, when I saw that we are coming to Hungary, I was really excited for it. So yeah, it's definitely the weekend I was looking forward the most to, and yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far.
How excited are you here to race here for the very first time in your career?
Yeah, really excited. I mean, it's my first time racing in front of Hungarian fans, so I'm pretty sure it will be a good atmosphere, and yeah, the fans are always great here, so yeah, I'm really excited for the race.
Now, you live only about half an hour away from the circuit, but amazingly, you've only done about 20 laps around here before the race weekend started in an F4 car, so it's about as new to you as it is to the rest of the grid, but you're going to have some kind of home advantage, you hope?
Yeah, the home advantage will be because of the fans, I think, so definitely not because of my track knowledge. I think many drivers, or quite a few drivers here, have more experience from the track than me, so yeah, I definitely don't have that advantage from knowing the track, but yeah, we'll see how it goes on Saturday and Sunday.
But you've been here as a fan before. You were saying you've even come here to watch GB3 before, so to be racing at a venue like this that's so close to home must be a really special moment for you.
Yeah, I was here in 2024 to watch GB3, and yeah, I mean, I really liked it, so I knew that I want to race in this championship once, and yeah, I'm really happy to be here at Hungary with GB3.
You've had loads of people hanging around your awning already so far. It's only Friday when we're recording this interview. You've had people outside your awning for the last 2 days, loads of people. The race weekend hasn't even started yet, so how many people are you expecting to welcome this weekend?
Oh, I don't know. It's a good question. We'll see how it is on Saturday and Sunday. I've definitely been a bit busy in these 2 days, so yeah, I mean, it's quite good. I mean, racing at home, I kind of expected it to be something like this, or they prepared me that it's going to be something like this. It's quite rare that there is a Hungarian racing driver, so when there is one, the fans and the people really support him, so yeah, it's really good to be the one this weekend, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the races.
I assume you've got loads of friends and family coming along to watch as well?
Yeah, there will be quite a few people that I know as well, so yeah, really exciting.
Your season started quite nicely, hasn't it? 3 podiums from 5 races. The first win feels like it's coming. This would be a great place to do it, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I would love to do it here. It would be a dream come true. Yeah, the season started off great. I already have a DNF, so not everything was ideal, but I started in 4 races and I finished on the podium 3 times, so I think those are pretty good stats so far, and I hope to make some more podiums this week.
If you got a win or a podium this weekend, how would you celebrate it?
Oh, I've not thought about that yet. It would definitely be good because I'm at home, so I know a few places, but yeah, it would be really good to get the first win here.
Well, let's cross our fingers for you for this weekend. Have a great one.
Thank you.
Fantastic to hear from Martin Molnar there. He had a brilliant performance in qualifying and to be racing from pole position in front of his home crowd. Unfortunately, someone who can't be with us this season, though, is Will McIntyre. After being diagnosed with brain and lung cancer last month, a fundraiser was held at Silverstone in order to raise money towards an intraoperative magnetic resonance imaging facility at the Adam Brooks Hospital.
It's been quite challenging. What Will has is actually a very rare condition, but through a number of processes, including scans and some brain operations, some brain biopsies, we've been able to establish what is wrong with Will, and then hopefully we can be implementing the best treatment to get him back to how he was before.
This was a young, funny, bright kid who's got the rest of his life ahead of him, and an amazing talent on the track as well, and then suddenly everything changes overnight, and that's when I thought, right, he's going to need support, he's going to need a mate. Will has gone through a tough time, right? And Will is battling away, but Will's not alone. And in the way that, you know, the motorsport community has got behind Will, from not just the GB3 world, but the world of Formula 1 and F2 and F3 and karting, and all the people that have raced with and against Will over the years, his battle on the track with that motorsport family is now replicated in the real world, in a different battle and a more important battle, quite frankly. But he's got something that affects a small amount of people, but it affects other people. And 600,000 people worldwide every year are diagnosed with a neurological, illness. So what we're trying to do is raise funds for Addenbrooke's Hospital, raise awareness for something that quite frankly needs awareness raising, because people don't understand that it affects a huge amount of people, and also putting Will in the spotlight where he belongs as far as I'm concerned.
So as part of our involvement with Will has been trying to introduce some new technology and equipment in an operating theatre in Cambridge. This is a really special operating theatre where we combine a scanner, a magnetic resonance scanner, with an operating theatre. This will revolutionise the treatment of conditions that Will have and others, and we're currently trying to raise £6 million through the University of Cambridge fundraising to try and help us reach that goal.
For Will to come back, to get in a car one day, I would like nothing more. We'll have more Team Will stickers, right, on his car, right, on every other car, and also in the Sky F1 commentary box at the Silverstone Grand Prix weekend as well. I'll put a lot of Team Will stickers up, because I want people to know just how great he is as a human being and a driver as well. And he's got one over on me because my team got relegated and his team sacked their manager, and we're rubbish, but we're better than my team, and I'm quite okay with that. He can get one up on me anytime he wants. Love him to bits.
Yeah, well, we'd really appreciate everybody's support. In order to donate, if you Google Will McIntyre, that'll take you to Will's personal website, and if you go on that website you'll hear all about Will, how he's getting on, and also there is a link to donate to the campaign.
Tremendous support for Will McIntyre there in the BRDC clubhouse. Refocusing though on today and the beautiful circuit we are at, let's take a little bit of a closer look at the Hungaroring. The GB3 Championship returns to the Hungaroring for the third time in the series' history. The iconic host of the Hungarian Grand Prix runs down into that opening corner at turn 1. Such a tricky braking zone as we start to drop down the hill. Through turn 2, the long left-hander, and then a flick right as we then begin to climb back up towards turn 4. Iconic and very tricky to navigate before we turn right the way through turns 5, 6 and 7 flicks us right and left before we head into this S's section at 8, 9, 10 and 11. The short shoot down towards turn 12 with the downhill braking zone before we climb back up through the double hairpin sequence at 13 and 14. Between the two of those is where the DRS detection point is that activates for both the DRS zones along the start-finish straight and that run down the hill towards turn 2. Just the single detection point staying within a second of the car ahead gives you DRS for both of the zones around the Hungaroring. That is a look at the 14 turns of the Hungaroring circuit. Let's take a look around the Hungaroring circuit on board with hometown hero Martin Molnar for the Rodin team. Into the braking zone at turn 1, slightly drops downhill into a tricky braking zone where you want to find a later apex. In a bit too deep there for Molnar, that's absolutely fine. Gets on the power nice and early before dropping down the hill. 1A, the slight kink between 1 and 2 before this tricky left-hander constantly goes to the left. You need to keep it over that left-hand side before we get into turn 3. A fast flick to the right before we rise back up towards turn 4. Infamous and tricky, especially when it comes to track limits on the outside. Blind as you crest over the hill, then through the left-hander all the way over to that right-hand side. Pull it back over to the left before we get into the basically double apex turn at turn 5. Finding that later apex and then continuing to rise up the hill. We crest over the top and then go through the chicane at 6 and 7. Before this S's section, it goes first to the left and then back to the right, the first part of it being quite tricky before we can pin that throttle down, going towards turn 10 and 11. 11 being the site of quite a lot of track limit excursions through qualifying. We're expecting the same for the race. So easy to run wide at this corner. Just 3 turns left to go, the first of which is the 90-degree right-hander at turn 12 before the rise back up the hill into the double hairpin sequence. Turn 13, the penultimate corner, wanted to hold it very tight, not using the curb though on the left-hand side. We've got pit entrance on the right-hand side. We pull the car back over to the left before dropping it into that final corner. One downshift to bring us back onto the apex, and that is a look around the 4.3 kilometre circuit here at the Hungaroring. of the GB3 Championship in 2026. Of course, this is a fantastic return to the Hungaroring for the third time in GB3's history. Here's a quick look at the circuit, 4.3 kilometres all the way around that drop hill, downhill run into turn 1 before we continue going down through 2 and 3, rising back up into the fast left-hander at 4 before turning to the right-hand side at 5. Into the chicane at 6 and 7, and then the SS section at 8, 9, 10 and 11. Track limits on the exit of 11 have been a highlight through qualifying. Down the hill back into 12 before the double hairpin sequence ends the lap. DRS detection between the two hairpins activates it for both the DRS zones on that run on the start-finish straight, and of course that downhill run into turn 2. It'll be tricky to overtake round here. It is a difficult circuit to find those passes, but for Martin Molnar it will certainly be one that he'll be excited to start from the front of the field. It is a beautiful day here in Hungary as we are ready to go racing. For some drivers it'll be about reigniting their championship challenge, the likes of Deegan Fairclough, maybe even Abby Pulling after that victory a few weeks ago at the circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Martin Molnar, I mean, he's had 3 podiums from 6 races. He didn't start from one of them and one of them was cancelled, so maybe now is the time for him. Nikita Bedrin though is the driver to beat. One fun stat though for Martin Molnar that I'm sure he'll be very focused on is that all 4 of the qualified races so far this season have been won from pole position. Obviously we had the 3 from Nikita Bedrin and Abby Pulling's victory just a few weeks ago. All of the drivers from pole taking that victory. The only one to come outside of that would be the reverse grid race where Jin Nakamura was able to take victory from 6th position. Away they roll on the formation lap. Martin Molnar dragging the field around this 19-car field for the GB3 Championship that we're having over the next couple of weeks, racing here at the Hungaroring, and of course in a week's time when we go to the Red Bull Ring for the very first time. Martin Molnar's run through this championship so far has seen him take a whole lot of podiums but no victories. Could today be the day in front of his own fans? Deegan Fairclough's had a pretty unlucky run so far in 2026. He'll be starting from 2nd position, still yet to get a pole position in the GB3 Championship. Nikita Bedrin, the champion leader, will start from 3rd alongside Lucas Flusha, who had that podium back in Silverstone in a fantastic battle with Flynn Jacks and Jin Nakamura. Jacks himself will start from 5th position alongside Rowan Campbell-Pilling, who retired from the opening race back in Spa, and Abby Pulling, recent race winner in GB3, will start from 7th alongside Peter Balsanellis, who's yet to get a top 10. Max Rem will start from what he will classify as a disappointing 9th position alongside Kyu-Ho Lee, the Korean driver for the elite team. Jacob Mikulev will be our rookie driver, joining us for this round, replacing Jin Nakamura alongside Aurelien Abels in 12th position. Dante Vinci will start alongside Rodrigo Gonzalez, the VRD Racing driver, directly ahead of Patricio Gonzalez, who's starting from 16th position. Between the pair of them, it is Ricardo Baptista for the XL Motorsports team. Just 2 more rows left to go with Yu Hao Fu and Lewis Gilbert starting from 18th position. The final spot will be Leon Wilson, who had to start from the 22nd position at Spa, was able to rise his way up all the way into 15th position from there. Can he do something similar here this afternoon? Obviously important to get the heat into the tyres. It's pretty warm out there, 24 degrees air temperature, 47 degrees track temperature. And again, a reminder that all of the drivers on the grid have just 2 sets of tyres to get them through the whole weekend. That includes both the qualifying sessions earlier on in the day and then all 3 races. So tyre management is still going to be an important feature for these drivers, especially on a circuit which typically is quite an abrasive one. Onto the start-finish straight they go. The last few burnouts for them. Before that, mental preparation and the build for Martin Molnar. Can he hang on? His results this season have been a 2nd, a did not start, a 12th, 2 thirds from the 5 races that we have had. Could this be a turning point for him? The Rodin team look incredibly strong so far this season. They do lead the team's championship and they are looking stronger as each round goes on. They are chasing a little bit of Nikita Bedrin's pace. VRD Racing at the moment holding on to the top spot of the Drivers' Championship. Martin Molnar is the one to hold on. Can he do so as the 5 red lights come on? We're racing here in Hungary. It's a much better start from Deegan Fairclough, though, from the opening corner as he'll head down into that opening turn. Can he get the start completed to its full fruition? To the inside line, he's going to look to the inside through Nikita Bedrin in the grey and red. Martin Molnar, the hometown hero, will drop back to second position. Deegan Fairclough trying to do what he did in Monza at the end of last year, which is stealing a race victory away. He's at the front of the field as we drop down into turn 2. Martin Molnar back on the attack. Can he go all the way around the outside of the second corner? Not quite yet. Deegan Fairclough is your race leader. It's Deegan Fairclough from Martin Molnar, from Nikita Bedrin, the top 3. Another big look to the outside from Martin Molnar. Can't do it there in the blue highlighted car. A couple of looks in the background there from one of the hill speeds. That'll be Dante Vinci trying to make his move. Also some big defences coming in from Patricio and Rodrigo Gonzalez with their highlighted cars. The VRDs with the bright yellow there for Patricio. Deegan Fairclough, though, is the one holding on at the front. Couple of looks in the background. The ardent duo of Leon Wilson and Lewis Gilbert, I think, switching positions in the hands in the favour of Leon Wilson in the background in the number 27. And the pair of them starting from the final row of the grid and not able to make too much progress. Yu Haofu directly ahead of him. Great, though, for the high-tech driver of Deegan Fairclough, who is starting to pull away. He's led a few laps this season, including quite a few back in Silverstone. Unfortunate retirement from the race lead has started a trio of retirements for Fairclough, but now he leads by 3/4 of a second into the final corner. There will be no DRS just yet. It'll be active in a lap or so's time. And they'll have the DRS on the start-finish straight and the run down into turn 2 as well. Got the 2 hill speeds there, Aurelia Novels, who's right on the rear end of her teammate Dante Vinci in 12th position. Big double front lock up there from Flynn Jacks. Thankfully he's able to wrestle it down to the apex, but that double front lock up certainly will be causing some flat spots and some difficulties for him through the rest of this race. Shouldn't be too bad. He managed to get off the brake pedal quite quickly. That isn't going to be a fun run. There's Aurelia Novels, and of course directly behind is Patricio Gonzalez, the 2 cars with bright yellow highlights on them, the red and black of Aurelia Novels, and of course the white, black and red there of Patricio Gonzalez. It's Deegan Fairclough at the moment leading from Martin Molnar. Abby Pulling is not in 3rd position. It'll be Nikita Bedrin in 3rd position with Max Rem in 4th, Lucas Flusha in 5th. Then it's Flynn Jacks, Rowan Campbell Pilling, Peter Bazanellis, then Kyuho Lee and Abby Pulling, the top 10. Pulling dropping back a few spots from her starting position. She started from 7th and has dropped back into 10th. Martin Molnar is feeling the pressure at the moment from Nikita Bedrin. Bedrin's obviously the championship leader and a comfortable championship lead at the moment as well. Can he find his way up even to get another position? He's had 4 podiums from 5 races and has been flying in this championship. Had a good chat with Abby Pulling, obviously, on commentary for GB4 just a week ago, and she was saying that Nikita Bedrin's going to be a tricky driver to beat. At the moment, in that 3rd spot, closing right into the back of Martin Molnar. The black and blue there of Martin Molnar. 1.2 seconds off the back of Deegan Fairclough. Not going to be getting any assistance from the DRS, and probably not very much from the slipstream either. There was a look to the inside there from Nikita Bedrin, the championship leader. Max Rem, by the way, has done an unbelievable job to progress up to 4th position. He started from 9th, he's picked his way through on the opening lap, and the German now runs in 4th. And of course, he does currently sit 2nd in the championship. And he is he's trying to keep himself well in contention. Can't let too many of these results fall through his fingers. And if he's got an opportunity to beat Nikita Bedrin, now is the time. 21 minutes left to go in the race. Out wide there, the hill speed of Peter Bowser-Nellis. He's got Kyuho Lee directly behind. The hill speed in the red, white and black car. There is a look at the bright yellow of Flynn Jacks in 18th position. In 6th position in number 18. Deegan Fairclough is our race leader. You can see there, 1.1 seconds. Been closed down a little bit there from Martin Molnar. He is closing down just touching the opening sector, but it goes out by a further 3/10 in the middle sector. Deegan Fairclough does outpace just a touch. The fastest first sector came in from Lucas Flusha in 5th position. The Spanish driver who moved over to the elite team, where had victory robbed from him of course, he will feel anyway. Victory robbed from him back in the opening weekend at Silverstone when Jin Nakamura was able to go 3 wide along with Kyu-Ho Lee. And the pair of them to try and battle their way through. It was an excellent fight. Finn Jacks dropping back and he's so disappointed the podium. Here's a look to the outside. Nikita Bedrin going for the up and under here at the opening corner. Big kick of oversteer. DRS open then on the rear wing. It will close up back into the slipstream. Martin Molnar going defensive down into turn 2. They're allowing Deegan Fairclough to pull out further and further and further as Deegan Fairclough leads by about 1.7 seconds. Martin Molnar in second position, having that pressure from Nikita Bedrin behind. Up the hill they go towards turn 4. But Bedrin's opportunities to pass are not exactly left, right and centre around this circuit. You do have that run into turn 12 where you can make the move. Really the double hairpin sequence is a little bit difficult, but then obviously that run into turn 1 and turn 2, those are really the main overtaking opportunities. The rest of this, whilst we go through the SS section, it's tremendously difficult to keep behind the rear wing of these cars. Of course this GB3, the Tartus MSV GB3 025 that we started racing at last year has definitely allowed it for these drivers to follow each other very closely, and certainly even closer than the previous generation of car. He's better than using that as best he can to try and keep Martin Molnar at least directly ahead of him and potentially eventually behind him. Deegan Fairclough goes fast in the first sector and fast in the middle. Here's a little bit look as to how he ran wide, kicked up a little bit of gravel there on the exit of turn 12. Also had Leon Wilson running wide as he was battling out with the high-tech driver of Yu Hao Fu. No move from Nikita Bedrin. Clearly they're running some fairly skinny wings on Martin Molnar's car, and obviously each of the teams can adjust the setups accordingly before they go into qualifying. You can select the downforce you want. You can play about with the front and rear wing here in GB3 to try and make it work the way you want to. Typically you'd see the Hungaroring run pretty high downforce around this circuit, and that was a bit wide there from Flynn Jacks, directly behind Lucas Flusha. But yeah, they tend to run quite high wings around here, but clearly the straight line speed from Martin Molnar's car is more than enough to keep Nikita Bedrin, the championship leader, at bay. Deegan Fairclough 1.9 seconds now clear, just again setting a world of light. However, Martin Molnar was faster in the first sector this time by 0.2 of a second. It does seem as though it's the middle sector where Deegan Fairclough pulls out a bit more of the margin. Through turn 11 they go. There is out wide Peter Balzan-Ellis as he's right on the rear end of Rowan Campbell-Pilling. Kyu-Ho Lee behind in the bright yellow. It's a little bit wide there from Balzan-Ellis. You've got to watch out for doing too much damage to the floor of the car. Certainly slow you down. There is the debutant car 18. Then it's going to get a 10-second post-race time penalty for a jump start, and that unfortunately is Flynn Jacks, who sits in 6th position. It's a big shame for the elite driver, who's actually doing some really putting on some really good pace here to keep up with Lucas Flusha at the moment in the top 5. Here comes a look for Balzan-Ellis, the red and black. Looks to the outside of the opening corner, uses the DRS, tries to sweep his way through on Rowan Campbell-Pilling, straight around the outside. Brilliant move from the Australian, all the way around the outside of the opening corner. The hill speed car finds its way up into 7th position. Kyu-Ho Lee with the bright yellow is the next one, queuing up behind to try and find his way through. To go back to McAuliffe with Dante Vinci, the other one of the hill speed cars directly behind. The red and black there of Dante Vinci right on the rear end. Ryan McAuliffe in 11th position. Abby Pulling a fair way ahead of this group now. 17 minutes left to go in the race. I do have it on my live timing as 15 minutes and 45 that Deegan Fairclough has at the moment at the front. Martin Molnar behind, then Nikita Bedrin, then Max Rem. Lucas Flusha now 1 second off the likes of Max Rem, so we're not getting any DRS assistance at the moment. Lucas Flusha with Flynn Jacks behind. Flynn Jacks, we know, has a 10-second post-race time penalty for a full start. And now I will say the gap for the race lead is coming down ever so slightly. Deegan Fairclough is feeling a bit of pressure from Martin Molnar, although you'd have to say maybe he's been told by his race engineer don't try and run away too far. Obviously, the faster you go, the more you might wear out your tyres, and you have to play the long game with these to make sure that they're fully in the operating window. Not only through this race on the high track temperature, 48 degrees Celsius, the track temperature at the moment here in Hungary, but also to make sure that those tyres are in the operating window potentially for race 2 later on tomorrow morning, later on in the weekend. He's just keeping Martin Molnar at arm's length. The last lap times between the pair of them was separated by just a couple of tenths of a second. Martin Molnar's probably got a little bit more on his plate is Nikita Bedrin. He's right there, but the difficulties for overtaking, again, for all to be seen. We saw Balzan-Ellis making his move on Rowan Campbell-Pilling. Oh, Abby Pulling's off the road, and she's into the barrier. I think has lost the front wing and clipped the rear end there. Maybe of QO Lee, maybe even Ryan McAuliffe was definitely battling around them. But Abby Pulling is out of this race with a fast one down into turn 2. Safety car will be deployed courtesy of that one. And Deegan Fairclough's 2-second gap will be immediately neutralised. Confirmation of safety car being deployed. Martin Molnar, there is Abby Pulling straight out of the car. I'm sure she'll be frustrated with that one. Obviously communicating with the marshals, seeing what happened. She did clip the rear end of must have been Rowan Campbell-Pilling then, the XL Motorsports driver. Just clipped the rear end as Campbell-Pilling was looking to the outside of Q-Ho Lee, and unfortunately at that point there's not really any space for Abby Pulling to go, and it'll be a disappointing one for the Roden Motorsports driver, fresh off her first victory in GB3 just a week ago. The Roden team will now have to tidy up, and they'll have to go again tomorrow morning. For the rest of the field, the race is neutralised. It is Fairclough from Molnar, from Bedrin, from Rem, from Flusha, Jax, Lee, Campbell-Pilling, Balzan-Ellis and McAuliffe, the top 10. Question marks as to whether the rear end of the XL car of Rowan Campbell-Pilling will be alright. Obviously it did get clattered a fair amount, a little bit of debris there on the curb. It was just actually flicked up a little bit by Ricardo Baptista. Wonder if any of the home fans that sit around this Hungarian circuit will be looking at this thinking, right, there's an opportunity now for Martin Molnar to maybe get one over on Deegan Fairclough, who had the perfect race start earlier. I don't fully remember, but I'm trying to think back to the races at Monza last season. Of course, the one that Deegan Fairclough was able to take victory in ahead of Alex Ninovich. I think there was a safety car intervention in that, and he did get the restart done perfectly. There was a couple of safety cars that weekend, and Deegan Fairclough will have to do so once again. Martin Molnar, Nikita Bedrin, second and third position. They do have an opportunity to maybe grab a victory from Fairclough himself. Of course, for Deegan Fairclough's results this season, well, they've been a bit lacklustre, but not through much fault of his own. He had fourth in the opening race this season, he had fourth in the previous race, and between that it's been a trio of retirements, and the frustrations have been brewing for Fairclough, courtesy of it, who came into it as definitely one of our title favourites, at least a favourite to be a protagonist in the title race, and it's just not quite gelled so far. With so long left to go in the championship, obviously we're only in rounds 7, 8 and 9. There's 24 races in total in the GB3 Championship in 2026. Fairclough's got enough time to turn around the season, but Nikita Bedrin's relentless pace and his consistency to pick up podiums, I think he might well be a tricky driver to beat. So let's have another look at that incident with Abby Pulling into the back of Rowan Campbell-Pilling. Just a bit of a clip. They were so tight though, and you almost wonder, had Abby Pulling not tapped the back of Rowan Campbell-Pilling with the hill speed of Peter Balzan-Ellis behind, would he have gone into the back of her? So it's just one of those ones where a lot of cars battling over the same bit of track, and everything being extremely close to DRS zone on the run down the hill, to be active after a lap of racing post safety car. If that just closed things up maybe a little bit too much for some of those drivers. Leon Wilson We did have a little bit of a look there. He's gained a couple of spots, but the biggest mover at this point in the race is Max Rem, who's gone up from 9th into 4th position. This is a bit further down. Oh, well, we had the rear right. It came off of Aurelien Abels. She had a puncture for Aurelien Abels, and rather than coming around into the pit lane, has unfortunately retired from the race, pulling over at the opening corner. Maybe not wanting to do any damage to her car. Obviously, not a long turnaround. Obviously, they do have the evening to maybe fix anything, but why fix anything if you don't have to? And Aurelien Abels pulling over to one side, meaning that 2 retirements from the race. Yes, and pulling. Safety car remains out on the circuit. No note from race control that it's coming back in now as the marshals will be clearing Abby Pulling's car. We've got 9 minutes and 15 seconds left to go of this race, and with it being around 97 seconds to complete a lap for your race leaders, realistically the race time when we go back racing, if we stay in the safety car for another lap or so, we'll be probably seeing the race for another 4 or so laps, might just about be 5, dependent on whether the safety car comes in at the end of this lap and how fast Deegan Fairclough is able to fire his rocket-sponsored high-tech car around this circuit. Also a lot of fans out there on the start-finish straight. It's a relatively toasty day, 25 degrees. It's plenty comfortable for the fans here trackside. I wonder if we'll be getting similar conditions when we head to the Styrian Mountains in just a week. Cannot wait for that. I'm sure a lot of the drivers are very much in that camp as well. The first time we get to go and race at the Red Bull Ring, another one of the new circuits to be added this season, along with the circuit to Barcelona Catalunya to end the season. Confirmation from race control. Safety car will be in at the end of this lap. So now the drivers will be getting that communication from the pit wall. They do all have radios from the pit lane. I'm sure they'll have their race engineers communicating to them, saying, right, now's the time to get your tyre temps back up. They won't have any live data that tells them what the temperature is, like you would in, say, Formula 1, for example. You'll just have to figure it out lap by lap and just purely on feel. And hopefully for Deegan Fairclough, for Martin Molnar and for Nikita Bedrin, Max Rem, those top 4 in the early part of the race, they were able to keep their tyres in the operating window. This will be even more disappointing though. I was thinking about this for Flynn Jacks, the Elite Motorsports driver who sits in 6th position. He has a 10-second post-race time penalty for a false start, and this will really hurt him because at the moment he'll basically be finishing down in 17th position. So he'll need to get this restart done as best he can, try and keep up with the top 5 to maybe secure a solid position in this race. Look at the amount of weaving happening here with our entire contingent. 17 cars left in the race. Martin Molnar waiting for his first victory in GB3 and how he would love to do it on home soil. This is his best opportunity with Nikita Bedrin starting from pole position in tomorrow morning's race. Can Molnar steal one away from Deegan Fairclough, who'll be starting from 2nd tomorrow as well? Green flag is ready, and we're about ready to go back racing. Fairclough from Molnar, from Bedrin, Rem and Flusha, the top 5. We are back racing here at the Hungaroring with 6 minutes and 20 seconds left to go. Should be 4 laps from this point. It'll time out quite close, depending on how fast Deegan Fairclough runs around. But it should be 4 laps from now. Fairclough from Molnar. Molnar did not have quite the starts compared to Deegan Fairclough. Big look to the inside there from Championship lead Nikita Bedrin. Straight down the inside. Is he going to be able to steal it away? Max Rem as well, trying to grab a podium off of his teammate. Down the hill they go towards turn 2. Max Rem has got past the hometown hero. Nikita Bedrin in 2nd position with Martin Molnar dropping down into 4th behind Max Rem as well. They're all queuing up behind Lucas Flusha for the XL team. Is also there or thereabouts. And can he find his way through? Flynn Jacks has got his teammate Kyuho Lee right behind him. Rowan Campbell pulling as well, whose XL car seems to be fully firing and absolutely fine after contact between himself and Abby Pulling to bring out the safety car. Perfect restart though from Deegan Fairclough, using his year's experience in the GB3 Championship to nail the restart. Out wide a little bit there through 6 and 7. And now into the S's sequence they go. A whole lot of dirty air will be going onto the front end of Kyuho Lee, trying to keep to the rear end of Flynn Jacks, the two elite cars. Flynn Jacks obviously in the red highlighted car, the white highlighted one of Q-Ho Lee as they navigate their way through the S's section. There's Jacob McAuliffe, who's on the back end of Peter Balzanellis in his debut weekend in the GB3 Championship, replacing Jin Nakamura, who of course is racing in Formula 3 on the British Grand Prix this weekend. Track limits warning for car 19, that is Q-Ho Lee behind Flynn Jacks. The two elites really testing the patience maybe of race control. 8/10 the gap for the race leader. It will go out to a second over the line, which is perfect for Fairclough. There is why that gap has grown to a second. Nikita Bedrin was way out wide going through turn 11 at the exit of the S's section. Lucas Flusha knocking at the door. Martin Molnar sitting in 4th position at present. 4 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in the race. This is still about 3 laps from this point. Molnar will be tremendously disappointed not to be on the podium. Obviously, he's had 3 podiums so far this season, but he would have been eyeing up coming into this round as a potential podium finisher. But some of the drivers on this grid, quite a lot of them, especially the ones that have done GB3 in the past, Nikita Bedrin of course, have plenty of experience around this circuit. We've raced here for the last couple of years in GB3. For Martin Molnar, whilst it is his home track, he lives half an hour away. He was saying in a pre-race interview that he's done less than 20 laps around this circuit. 2 drivers are in the pit lane, including Rodrigo Gonzalez, who we're seeing there. Lewis Gilbert for the Argentine, another one who's in the pit lane. So the Hungaroring is biting some of the drivers around this circuit, and there might well have been an incident there between Rodrigo Gonzalez and Lewis Gilbert, who now dropped down. That'll be music to the ears, potentially, of Flynn Jacks with his 10-second post-race time penalty. It would just make things a little bit easier for him, maybe gain a couple more spots. At the moment, he would be destined to finish in 14th position, according to my live timing. Also, a black and white flag for track limits has gone the way of Nikita Bedrin in 2nd position. So, the VRD Racing man, the championship leader, whilst he is closing down on Deegan Fairclough, he has caught the eye of race control. Deegan Fairclough might all be feeling a little bit of pressure, but the championship leader behind, who will be starting from pole position in tomorrow's race, has a little bit of work to try and get past the Englishman. The gap is under a second, 9/10. It'll be DRS for Nikita Bedrin, as long as he can keep the DRS going out of turn 13. The detection point activates for both the DRS zones around this Hungaroring circuit. And of course, that detection point is between 13 and 14. You have DRS in the start-finish straight, as well as the second straight and the run down the hill into turn 2. Fairclough is doing brilliantly at the moment. He is playing his cards as best he can. Max Wren has come up from 9th position on to the podium, and he's had quite a few podiums so far this season. It's 3 podiums so far for Max Wren in the last 5 races. But of course, he did end the last season with a victory in his debut weekend of the GB3 Championship at the Temple of Speed at Monza. We'll keep our eye on the timing here, with 1 minute and 37 seconds to complete a lap. And there being under that left to go in this race, we are about to head onto the final lap of this race. Can Nikita Bedrin get his way through on Deegan Fairclough and secure himself a 4th victory of the 2026 season, which we've had just 6 races in? He's not close enough here on the run down into the opening corner, and Fairclough has just a 4.3 kilometre circuit to navigate to steal his 2nd victory of the GB3 Championship. He'll be over the moon if he can do so, and it definitely will reignite his championship challenge. And he'll be someone that's still confident, even at this point, even after the troubles he's had through the opening portion of the 2026 season. He's still confident that the title race can still be on. It's about nailing this weekend to the next weekend before we get to the halfway point of the season, and before we return to the United Kingdom with Silverstone, Donington Park and Brands Hatch to go. Last lap of the race. Everything behind is looking a little bit spaced out. The closest battle is that between Rowan Campbell-Pilling, Peter Balzanellis and Ryan McAuliffe, who's in 8th, 9th and 10th position. There is a look into the S's section and the sheer commitment for Deegan Fairclough, who I've commentated on for quite a while, and whether it's been in the esports racing, whether it's been here in GB3, He's a fantastic talent and has a lot of speed. And clearly, this weekend has a lot of consistency as well. Qualified in second position, still yet to get a pole position in his GB3 career. Does have a race victory though. It wasn't in the UK, it was abroad last year when we were racing at the Temple of Speed. Was able to take victory in Monza, and now is able to take a win on another Grand Prix circuit. Out through the final corner, Deegan Fairclough, brilliant performance, second position to his second victory in GB3. It is Fairclough on top, ahead of championship leader Nikita Bedrin. Max Rem though, 9th position, all the way up to first. Incredible performance there from Max Rem, but a great drive from Deegan Fairclough. What that'll do for the championship, well, Nikita Bedrin definitely will still be the championship leader, and a comfortable one indeed for Deegan Fairclough. I mean, look, he's a long way off the championship, but races like that do kind of push you back into contention, maybe just a touch. Unfortunately, Flynn Jacks, with his post-race time penalty, dropped down into 14th position. We'll have 3 retirements from that one. Lewis Gilbert, Rodrigo Gonzalez, Aurelian Abels and Abby Pulling, the quartet of retirements. Leon Wilson up to 15th position from his starting position at the back, but that one still will be a bit of a bitter pill to swallow for the Arden Motorsport team. Obviously, unlike previous seasons of GB3, where your qualifying order, generally speaking, was quite similar from race to race, this season, with it being 2 separate qualifying sessions, you can kind of really start in very, very different spots from the race 1 starting grid and the race 2 starting grid, as we had last season. Obviously picking up as many marbles as they can. They're working their way round to the grid, obviously to increase the weight of the car and stuff, obviously from anything that might have been worn off throughout the run, so they come in over the minimum weight limit. And even going off the road there for Deegan Fairclough. I mean, he'll be very happy with that race. Obviously, did it perfectly, starting from second position. Last time we were racing internationally in the championship, before we were racing at Spa last weekend. Said before it was Monza. He ended up finishing in 4th, 1st, and 2nd at the Temple of Speed. Second, of course, behind Max Rem in the season finale. He was very quick then. There is the rest of the team heading round into the paddock area, where the support paddock where the GB3 cars are situated. For the top 3 of Fairclough, Bedford and Rem, they'll be heading away back onto the start-finish straight and into the pit lane, ready to be interviewed by Richard Randall in just a few moments' time. The trio head their way into their spots. I think there'll be no one happier than Deegan Fairclough. Naturally, you'd expect that with a victory, but sometimes people take wins and they're not super happy. They're just like, yeah, cool, that was another one ticked off, no worries. I don't think Nikita Bedrin will be like, yeah, cool, that's a 2nd spot, I'm happy with that. Max Rem will be over the moon with 9th all the way up to 3rd. For Deegan Fairclough, maybe this will be a turnaround weekend for the high-tech driver. You can see all the mechanics there. Straight over to him to give him the congratulations. I'm sure his family have tried to work their way out as best they can to the Hungaroring. Obviously, these international rounds of the GB3 Championship, sometimes it's hard to get familial support, but they do try as best they can to get on site, especially for the back-to-back weekends that we'll be racing in when we go racing next week, of course, at the Red Bull Ring. All the drivers have gone off to the weigh-in there, and afterwards they'll head their way back over to this spot, and then we'll be able to catch up with them. But obviously important for the drivers to get weighed in and to do their mandatory, the ruling. Otherwise, well, you don't want to get disqualified, certainly not after a victory. You can see all the data being taken from the cars, tyre temperatures. There'll be obviously car weight being taken, etc., etc. So that everything is done above board and within the rules. Deegan Fairclough working his way back over and ready to be spoken to. Not sure which way he's going though as he heads his way back over. Puts his helmet on the car, and I'm sure he'll be very, very happy with that victory. We'll head down to Richard Randall, though, who will be catching up with our top 3 in just a few moments' time. Obviously, it's Deegan, Fairclough, Bedrin and Rem.
Down here in Parc Fermé with Deegan Fairclough. Deegan, your first win since Monza last year, but more importantly, given your speed this weekend, that feels like that's been coming.
Yeah, I mean, this weekend has been really strong, and just got to say a massive thank you to the boys at High Tech. They've been pushing so hard and working so hard, and especially in this heat, it was good. Finally, we're on that top step. It's been a long time, and that's good points in the championship, and we've got a comeback to bring them now.
Plenty of pressure on you at the start there. You got all the Hungarian fans in the grandstand cheering on the guy in pole position, and you out dragged him down to turn 1. That must have been quite a good feeling.
Yeah, it was good. The and I had the inside, so that was it really. Bit unfortunate in qualifying with getting held up on the peak of lap, but we still managed 2 P2s, and the pace has been really strong, and we just got to keep pushing now.
You built a really strong lead mid-race, only to be wiped out by the safety car. Guess that must have been fairly frustrating, but you knew the speed was there.
Yeah, exactly that. I don't know what else to say, sorry.
And in terms of the restart, again, you made another really strong restart. Really important to do that as well.
Yeah, got a good gap and saw them lot battling behind, and I just managed a comfortable pace and didn't do anything too silly. And yeah, that was it really.
Looking ahead now to race 2, you're starting second on the grid again, but can you do it again?
Hopefully. Fingers crossed, and if we get a good start, we can give Nikita a good fight.
And obviously a fantastic result there to kickstart your championship chances.
Exactly that. Really pleased, good points, and I'm just mega thankful to all the team and everyone that supports me.
Well, congratulations, Deegan. Fantastic race. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
We'll move on to Nikita Bedrin now, championship leader. Nikita, in terms of a result there, P2 from P3 on the grid. Great way to start your weekend.
Yeah, pretty good race. I mean, we started P3, there was not much to do on the first lap because they were side by side. You cannot really go free wide unless you want to crash early, but I think I managed it pretty well. Had a good restart, got him there. I felt like I had more pace than him before that, but just not easy to keep up in the last sector on this track. I think we've maximized what we could, and I'm pretty happy with good points.
Talk us through the move at the restart there, because it was a very late move on Molnar. Almost caught him by surprise.
Yeah, I think I got him by surprise. The first time he defended, I went to the outside, and I mean, there was not much I could have done there differently to do any better. And then when I passed him, I decided to try something different, and it worked out perfectly. So yeah, it was a good move, of course.
Obviously, tomorrow, race 2, starting from pole position. How much are you looking forward to that one?
Yeah, get a good start and pull away. That's the goal.
And in terms of the championship there, really strong points to really strengthen your charge at the top of the standings.
Yeah, of course. As I said, it's really amazing to keep constantly scoring points. This is exactly what we need to get the championship at the end of the year, so we need to be doing the same thing.
Well, fantastic driver. See how you get on tomorrow.
Thank you.
And finally, we'll move on to Maxim Rem, Rodin Motorsport. Maxim, well, apparently it's really difficult to overtake around the Hungaroring, but you just went from 9th to 3rd.
Yeah, I think it was quite a good race. We had a good start. We were 4th after the start. And then it was for me all about like keeping the tire in the window. I could feel the front going to the end, and then the safety car came out. I think that cooled down the tires a little bit. And then Nikita done Molnar into T1, and I took the opportunity and came in with him. And then it was just about finishing the race, not doing any mistakes. And yeah, I think the pace was a lot better than in qualifying. Sort of surprising. I didn't expect a podium in this race. But I take it anyways, and I think tomorrow we can maybe have a chance for a win, but let's see what happens.
Yeah, given the championship conditions with Bedrin and Fairclough starting quite a long way ahead of you on the grid, I suppose you went into that race thinking it'd be damage limitation, but not to expect a podium.
Yeah, in my mind I was just trying to get the most points I can, which I mean in the end I did, but I definitely didn't expect top 3 or top 5, to be honest. Yeah.
Tomorrow you're starting much further up the grid, I believe, for race 2. So how confident are you of going for another podium?
I think it depends on track time. I think it depends on how the other drivers work with their tyres. I think if they don't treat them as well, I think I maybe have a chance when I keep the tyres in the right window. Yeah.
Well, fantastic drive. Let's see how you get on tomorrow.
Yes, thank you very much.
I'm handing back now to Lewis McGlade for the highlights.
Honoured by the BRDC, it was an excellent start from Deegan Fairclough, who was able to take over the race lead from pole sitter Martin Molnar on the run down into the opening corner. There was a big look through the middle coming in from championship leader Nikita Bedrin, but couldn't quite do it. Bit of a lock up there from Molnar, who had run out just a touch wide. Second position, though, was indeed his. It was Max Rem, though, making some of the progress in the opening stages, going from 9th all the way up in the 4th position. Nikita Bedrin onto the rear end of Molnar, but not able to get through. Towards the back end of the top 10 was where there was an excellent fight. Rowan Campbell-Pilling being overtaken by Peter Balzan-Ellis. Not too far behind was one of the elite cars, but unfortunately there was this incident for Abby Pulling. This would cause the safety car just into the rear end of Rowan Campbell-Pilling. It was a perfect restart from Deegan Fairclough, but an even better one from Nikita Bedrin, straight down the inside for second position to steal away the podium from Martin Molnar. And Molnar's teammate Max Rem was also able to come through. Out wide, a couple of drivers were struggling with track limits going through turn 11, but one of those drivers was not Deegan Fairclough, who dominated the race. An excellent performance from Deegan Fairclough, winning by 0.8 of a second. Maybe that doesn't quite do it justice as to how in control he was. Nikita Bedrin behind, and Max Rem, the trio that we've just caught up with. Martin Molnar in 4th position with Lucas Flusha in the top 5. Kyuho Lee would lead, Rowan Campbell-Pilling, Peter Balzan-Ellis, Nathan Califf, and of course Patricio Gonzalez in there as well. Then it's Dante Vinci with Ricardo Baptista, Yuho Fu, Flynn Jacks, Leon Wilson, and Lewis Gilbert would be a retirement from the race, along with Rodrigo Gonzalez, Aurelien Navels, and unfortunately Abby Pulling as well. Big shame for those retirements, but a great drive from Deegan Fairclough, whose victory will not move him into championship contention, but he'll be 92 points off of Nikita Bedrin. Unfortunately, the trio of retirements from him a little bit earlier on the season has certainly caused his fair share of problems. We'll welcome the drivers on to the podium, of course, the first of which will be Maxime Rem, who is second in the championship race. Will lose a little bit of ground in the championship. Obviously 29 points for Nikita Bedrin, 26 for Max Rem for second and third respectively. But he is within a race victory of Nikita Bedrin at the top of the points. There's Rem. There is Nikita Bedrin onto the podium for the 5th time and effectively 6 run races. And then Deegan Fairclough will take to the top step for the 2nd time in his career. And again, a really solid performance from Deegan Fairclough, taking to the top step. Can he do it again tomorrow? That will be certainly a question to be answered for the high-tech team. But they'll have to beat that driver on the left-hand side of your screen. We'll have national anthems, though, from the team. And, of course, for Deegan Fairclough. There we go, the British national anthem there for Deegan Fairclough, his 2nd victory in GB3. Another international one there for him, but of course a new circuit to have been ticked off when it comes to his victories. Can he do the same thing again tomorrow? That is the big question. Can Nikita Bedrin win from pole position? I mean, he'll be a tough one to beat. Deegan Fairclough will be starting on the front row alongside hometown hero Martin Molnar. Will be going into the next race, Hungary, I'm sure. We will be racing. The broadcast lease will start at 9:50 in the UK tomorrow morning. Obviously 10:50 local time in Hungary. So we'll see you then as racing continues here in our European road trip at the Hungaroring. Until then, bye-bye.